Hi. So, in the early 2000s, I was a very ardent spiritual seeker. I had a big spiritual awakening in 2002, which led to very sincere and all-consuming seeking for some years. And at that time, I was traveling to see a man called Roger Linden, a teacher who lived in London. I was traveling to see him from Birmingham at least once a week without fail. And I was helping him, I thought, to write a book. And to do that, I would record the meeting, and then I would listen to it on the way home, and then I would transcribe it, and then I would take the transcript back to him, and he would take it from me, and he would edit it, and he would give it back to me, and I would implement the edits that he'd made and give it back to him. And then he would say, yeah, I don't think this is the one, or I don't think this is quite right. Um, I, I did a one-to-one the other day that I've recorded. Do you think you could type this up? And I said yes. And so it went on and on and on. And I gradually began to realize that there was never going to be a book, and there isn't. I have hundreds of thousands of words on my old laptop, but there'll never be a book. And it wasn't until I started trying to make this particular video that I really appreciated why nothing was ever right. I don't know. I'm not sure what take this is. It's probably 40 something. Trying to find a way to express what it is that I want to express. And the problem is that the words are never right. The concepts aren't right. The description is misleading. It's ambiguous. It's wrong. So that every word is wrong. And I think it's made even worse for me personally because I'm autistic. And so just naturally, every word that I say is very carefully considered at lightning speed. But as every word is leaving my mouth, there's this constant check. Is this the right word? Is this accurate? Is there any way that this is misleading, ambiguous, could be taken the wrong way? And yeah, every word could be. So that's kind of a disclaimer at the beginning of this video. Every word is wrong. Nothing actually means what it seems to say. And yet I'm making the video anyway because there is something that I want to say, and I'm going to try really hard to say it. And what that is that there is something which I'm calling reality, which is available. Now, you see, wrong word. There is something called reality, which is present, which is being experienced right now, which is utterly wholesome and complete and satisfying. Everything you could ever possibly want is the case right now. Yeah, I'm not just making this for you. I'm making this for me. There's a book called A Course in Miracles, which you may or may not be familiar with. It was written in the 1970s by a woman who believed she was taking dictation from Jesus. It's a beautiful book. It comes in 3 volumes. There's a text, a workbook, and a manual for teachers. It's very much steeped in a Christian context, although the book itself is not religious in any way. And my personal reading of it, I believe that the message in it is completely non-dual. The Christian context can be stripped away, and what is left is a very pure and beautiful description of non-duality. And that book summarizes itself in its introduction with the words, "Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists." And there's another line that it's unclear whether it's part of the summary or not. "Herein lies the peace of God." Okay, so the suggestion is that knowledge, with a capital K, of the nature of reality and unreality is the key to peace. It also says in A Course in Miracles that think not that you understand anything until you experience perfect peace. For peace and understanding go together and never can be found apart. That might not be an exact quote, but the gist of it is there. So this understanding of reality and unreality is important. It's it promises big happiness. So that's why I want to talk about it. And in A Course in Miracles, reality is defined as that which doesn't change. Okay. The reason that I'm using this definition of reality that is given in A Course in Miracles is not because I see that book as any authority, but because of my own experience and my own coming to use the word real in this way for the first time, which was one of the most powerful experiences of my life. Again, this was back in the early 2000s when I was with Roger Linden. I was talking to him, and he'd been talking in one of his meetings about the way that we are constantly telling a story, the story of our life with ourselves as the central character, and how this constant narration is going on, where we are defining and redefining and creating and building on this story of our life and who we are and what we are and what we want and what we don't want and what we like and don't like, and what we're going to do and what we did and what we think about this, that and the other, and all of these things that go to make up our picture of this separated self that we believe we are. So he'd been talking about this, and I desperately wanted to stop doing that. Now, those of us who've ever tried to stop telling the story, to stop the stream of narration, will know that one of the first things that happens is that we start telling a story about not telling a story. And then we're telling a story about how well we're doing at not telling a story about telling a story. It's very difficult to stop. But in this case, there was such ardent determination, or whatever, you know. Was it ardent determination? Was it grace? Was it some kind of Dharma transmission from Roger? Whatever, my mind stopped. This mind, it just stopped. And when that stream stopped, that stream of thought stopped, the universe disappeared. The world disappeared, I disappeared, Roger disappeared, the time stopped happening, space stopped happening. And nothing useful can be said. Well, I'm going to try and say some useful things about what is experienced. But what struck me at the time, what hit me at the time, like a thunderbolt, was the contrast between what is real that was then being experienced and what is unreal, which is the universe and everything in it. And I was filled with an enormous compassion for myself as the separated self, desperately trying to wreak some kind of satisfaction, some kind of stability, security, some kind of love and happiness from a universe that isn't real, is in constant flux, constant change, is completely unreliable. It was like the image that I have now is of constantly grasping at things that were just slipping through my fingers, because everything is temporary. And it wasn't until it stopped happening and reality was seen that there was a real understanding of just how unsatisfying the world is, just how sad it is. Yeah. And you know, any ideas of, oh, it's not that bad, you know, there's love in the world. There's joy, there's happiness. I'm having a great time. You know, all of those things were just washed away. Yeah. And it was seeing that the essence of life, which is suffering. You know, this is said in all the good spiritual traditions, that life is suffering. Yeah. So the important contrast is with the changing and the unchanging. And so years later, when I came to comprehend A Course in Miracles, I saw that it says there, it defines reality as that which does not change, and unreality as that which changes. So nothing real can be threatened becomes obvious. If something doesn't change, it can't be threatened. It was never gained. It can never be lost. It doesn't come and go. It's not here one minute, gone the next. It is constant. But even constant seems to imply some kind of relationship with time. But in fact, if something is completely changeless, then it has no relationship with time at all. Time is a measure of change. No relationship with space at all. Space doesn't exist without the idea of change or movement and time, all of these things. Very often it will be said that there are no words that can actually describe reality, because words describe opposites. They're used to compare and contrast. And in reality, there's no comparison, no contrast. But I would like to suggest that we can use the words unconditional love. Unconditional love has no cause, and so it doesn't change. It just is. It's same with uncaused joy. Not caused. Didn't come. Won't go. Just is. These things meet the criteria for being real. Unconditional love, uncaused joy. These are real. When I was 20, I was told that the baby that I was carrying wasn't going to live once it was born. And at that time, that news was so unwelcome that my mind refused to try to integrate it. That was the first time, and to my knowledge, that my mind stopped. It just refused to think another thought, because there was nothing, there was no thought that could come that was bearable. And that was, as I say, the first time that my mind stopped. And there was an awareness of eternity. There was an awareness of an invulnerability, a peace that could not be touched, that was beyond what was happening. I think this is a very common experience that comes about in many, many different ways. And then it seems to go away again. And we get on with our lives. So the thing about reality is that because it is timeless, because it has no relationship with space, it is here now. Yeah? What is eternal must be now. Yeah? What doesn't come and go must be here, or it doesn't exist. So if reality exists, then it exists here and now. And this is where things get even trickier to talk about. But it is being experienced, and it is known. Yeah. Right now, this timeless, spaceless, unconditional love, uncaused joy, this infinite, invulnerable, imperturbable peace is known. It is the experience. And if it doesn't seem to be, it's because we are being distracted by the changing. Yeah. We're not appreciating the unchanging because we're being distracted by the changing. We are focused on the unreal. We're looking at the unreal. And even in the spiritual search, we're looking at the unreal. We're looking at the universe of change. And we're looking for something to happen, something to change that will bring about a spiritual awakening. And so we read, we travel, we visit teachers, we meditate, we pray. And all of this activity supports what I would call the separated self. It all supports this idea that I need to do something in order to bring about a particular change. In order, in this changing world, I need to control the change to bring about what it is that I want. Okay. And what that does is it concentrates attention into this story about me being a separated self, a seeker in the world, looking for something that I don't have, wanting to be different from the way that I am. When I hear a description of unconditional love, uncaused joy, imperturbable peace, these things do not seem to be the case. And so there's the idea, well, I need to do something. If there's an understanding that I don't need to bring them about, so there's an understanding that these things, very often it's described like, oh, there's a veil in the way. Sometimes a veil of ignorance that can be removed by learning. Or very popularly, there's an idea that I need to purify myself. And possibly the most difficult one is that this idea that, oh, I need to get rid of my ego. Yeah. And what I'm going to suggest here is that we just look at what is real and what is unreal. What is real is unchanging. Just look at that very simple definition. What is real has value. It has substance. What is unreal has no value whatsoever. Okay. So what is unreal? The universe, clearly, the physical universe. There is nothing about it that is unchanging. You know, at a universal level, I mean, it's all relative and really hard to talk about, but you know, the galaxies are moving at tremendous speeds relative to other galaxies, relative to the center of the universe, if there is such a thing. I don't know. I'm not an astronomer. But every atom is in a constant state of movement. And I'm not a scientist, but I think I've got this image in my mind that when they actually open up these atoms, what they find inside, even though it's too small to actually see, I don't know how it works, but whatever it is, there's springs, or is it strings? I think it's strings. But in my mind, there's this image of these little wiggly things, these wiggly, boingy things, yeah, at every level, yeah, from the galactic to the subatomic. There is constant movement. Nothing remains the same. Okay. So the physical world. But more importantly, is the separated self, who I am. Now, a lot of non-dual teachers, certainly in the noughties when I was seeking, there was a lot of talk of, you know, there is no person. And a lot of people on Facebook trying to have conversations without using words like I and me. And a lot of people getting very angry because it all seemed ridiculous. So I'm not going to go there. Okay. Actually, what I would say is that there is a part of me that is unchanging and therefore real. And there is a part of me that is in a state of constant change, therefore unreal, therefore valueless. Okay. So that's why I feel that this idea that there is no person feels wrong. And it's because there is that which is unchanging. That is me. That is the essence of me. And that is real. all the rest of it, this appearance of an individual, a person who was born and will die. I mean, physically, yes, but also, mentally, emotionally. It's in constant change. Who am I? Most most of the time we answer those questions with descriptions of the things that we do and believe and think. But those things change. They're not real. This person that I am, this separated self, it has no real continuity. And that which doesn't change, that does have a sense of continuity. None of these descriptions, attributes, definitions of who I am can be attached to that. They're completely separate from that. And so comprehending this, understanding this, knowing this, through whatever. I mean, my personal experience is that when I become open to considerations, the universe provides opportunities. Knowing this, understanding this, really comprehending this, you just let go. You just let go of this sense of me and who I am and what I am and what I'm not and all of that. And, that is, people talk about letting go of the ego, dissolving the ego, diminishing the ego. But actually, it seems like the ego is just seen for what it is, completely unimportant, completely unreal. Okay. This person, this Kusame, this life, everything that's happened in this life, everything that will happen in this life, everything that Kusame believes and thinks and does and all the rest of it, it's completely without any real substance. And clearly seeing that brings peace. And lastly, just to say that everything's all right. What is real cannot be threatened, and what is unreal does not exist. So everything's okay. Can't be any other way. Thank you.